Hello everyone and welcome to Bevins Bricks, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how I'm finishing up my display table for the commission job. Here is the table. It's finished, it's painted, it's black, and it's black because that was their request. It's going to be going in a black room, and they didn't want to have a bunch of flashy light or anything coming off the table because when the lights are off, they want to be able to not see the table. They want it to go away, and that is the reason for the black table. Going over to my display real quick, I'm going to explain a few things as to why I'm going to be doing the table the way I'm doing it. Now, as you can see, I do have the whole display here. It's all finished. It's all set up. You can see some of the wiring in various locations, and part of that is because it's not fully finished because this is not the table that it's intended to be on. When everything's finished, all the wires will be on the bottom side of this table to plug into my power supplies. The other thing I do want to point out, because I do have motorized equipment on this, this boat does motorize and move, and so do all of these oil derricks. And with that being said, I have two different power supplies to be able to make this a possibility. The first power supply is this. This is actually a multi-volt power supply. This goes anywhere from 3 volts all the way up to 12. Now, even though I'm only using it as a 9-volt power supply, like I said, it is a variable volt power supply. And there's a big important reason why I'm actually using this variable volt power supply. Quite simply, it's because I'm not going to actually run it at a full 9 volts. The power that I'm going to be actually putting onto this is only going to be 8 volts. And the reason for that is it slows the motors down just a little bit and puts a little less wear and tear on them. Because I want this display to have a long lifespan, and I want it to be very dependable. Because I used two different power supplies, I have the 5-volt USB power supply, and I do have the 9-volt power supply, I'm going to set this display up in a manner and fashion that they can control the motors and the lighting separately. So there's actually going to be 2 switches on the bottom of the display table. All the wire that I'm using is 12 gauge. It's 12 gauge because it's going to be good for 20 amps, and because this is a commercial building that it's going into, I want to make sure that it meets commercial codes. And with it being commercial codes, I'm going to be using MC cable on the bottom, and then I'm going to use some of this SO cord for a short cable to go from the table display to plug into the wall. Quick explanation of what's going on now that we got the table upside down. The SO cord, which is the black cord over there, is going to be coming into this box here, and then we're going to be taking our MC cable, metal clad cable, and it is 12-2, and we're going to be using the 12-2 cable coming from this box all the way up to over here where we're going to be putting in a switch. The switch is going to be a 2-pole switch, and the reason it's going to be a 2-pole switch is because we're going to come out of that with 12-3. Yes, you heard me correctly, 12-3, 3 conductor. We're going to be coming from that over to this box. And the reason that I'm doing that is because this box is going to have a duplex receptacle, or an outlet if you prefer. And with that outlet, I'm going to have one outlet switched by one switch there, and the other outlet switched by the other outlet there, which is why I'm using the 12-3 conductor MC cable. Now to quickly show you everything now that it's together, again, I came in this end with the SO cable, went to that box, took the 12-2 MC cable all the way down to this end with the box, put in my double switch. Then I came with 12-3 MC cable all the way down to my duplex. And then from my duplex, we have the 9-volt power supply, and we have the 5-volt power supply. And then also for the 9-volt power supply, I have the wire that comes through and goes to the terminal strip, which is where all my motors are going to be plugged into. And now that all the wiring is done and the display is fully placed on the actual table, plugged in, hooked up, and ready to go, let's test it out to see how it works. First, we're going to hit the light switch, and it takes it a second just to boot up, because it takes the power supply a second to warm up to turn everything on. And as you can see, our lights work great. Now we're going to turn on our motors. And there we have it. Everything is fully operational, and I cannot wait to get this packed up and delivered to Houston, Texas. To give you a little more information about the entire build as a whole, I have over 227 hours of build time invested into that table. That does include all the wiring and lighting and the actual builds themselves. Every build on this table is designed by me, except for 2 of the actual builds. The 2 builds that were not designed by me were the actual Saturn V rocket itself and the sailboat. The sailboat was a gift with purchase. I've had a few people tell me that I look very tired during the process of doing this, and part of that reason is I think a lot of people forget to realize that I do work a full-time job while I'm doing things like this. And because, again, I did have 227 hours of build time just in this build by itself, and that was over the course of only 4 weeks. And while I'm doing that, I am working my day full-time job. When I say my day full-time job, I am an electrician by trade, and I do work my 40 hours a week, and I do have a 2-hour commute drive time in between all that. So during the week, when I'm actually working my 9 to 5, my Monday through Friday job, I actually do my typical work throughout the day, and then in the evenings I spend about 4 to 5 hours a day working on this commission job, and then every weekend I spend 10 to 12 hours a day working on the commission job. So it can be quite exhausting. I really wish I could do this as a full-time gig and not have to work my actual day job, but it is what it is, and I don't have a lot of commissions, so I have to work around my actual day job. Now that this commission job is finished, I'm hoping to get back to working on my actual Lego display itself, and I'm hoping to start actually doing some more videos on a more frequent basis anyway, because my video production has been extremely low here lately. It'll probably remain on the lower side just due to the fact that I've noticed I'm not getting a lot of views anymore on most of the stuff that I post anyway, so I'm going to be focusing a little bit more attention to my other channel where I seem to actually be getting a better response from the videos I produce. Don't worry though, I will not be ending this channel. It'll just be a very minute slowdown on the amount of videos I do produce. Anyway, if you'd like to see more of my actual mocks and creations, don't forget to check out this playlist here.